Hello everybody, it's Craftin' Just Because with Chris Cowan. Thank you for joining me today for another 12 Days of Christmas project. Today we are going to be making, I call them a jewelry box. They're like an explosion jewelry box. But what it is, let me kind of zoom out a little bit here, is when you take off the lid, this unrolls like this, and there's boxes. And in this one, my niece loves Harry Potter, so I bought her all the Harry Potter book necklaces, and I'm gifting this to her for Christmas. But you can make them with any cardstock and designer series paper, and then the lid closes it all up tight. This is another example of one that I used, and I'm making this one for my girlfriend Bev for Christmas. And I filled it also with some jewelry. But you can also fill them with candy or gift certificates or anything that will fit in a box kind of this size. So I'm going to show you how we're going to make this, and I'm going to give you the dimensions. But of course, if you follow my blog, all the directions and dimensions are on my blog. And I also have a PDF. So if you're interested in a PDF, I can email that to you. Just private message me. So what you want to do is you want to start out with some coordinating cardstock that measures 6 by 11 inches. Okay, we're going to score this piece together, but I'm just giving you the dimensions. Then you're also going to have a piece for the lid, which is 6 3/4 by 6 3/4. And then you're going to have some designer series paper for the boxes inside, and those are 6 by 6. And then you need 10 panels that coordinate with that as well, and those are cut by 2 by 5 3/4 inches. And then you need 4 panels that are cut at 1 inch by 2 1/4 inch, and these are for the lid sides. And then you also need a piece that's cut at 2 1/4 by 2 1/4 for the lid top. Now, to speed up the process, because this can be time consuming, I did go ahead and make 3 of the inserts and the lid. They're all made the same way, so I'm going to walk you through how to make one of the lids, and then we'll finish putting this project together. But first, before we go ahead and get started doing the lid, we need to score the side panels. So you're going to want to bring in your paper trimmer. And you're going to want to score on the 11 1/4 inch side at 2 1/4. At 4 1/4, at 6 3/4, and at 9. Okay, so now we just need to get rid of our paper trimmer. And what we're going to do is we're going to burnish all those score lines. So we're going to fold that in and burnish and give it a nice sharp crease. Do the same thing here. There. And then we have one last one to do. Okay. Now you're going to go ahead and decorate the inside and the outside with your designer series paper. So I'm using, the Christmas time product medley that was available to us. And so it coordinates with cherry cobbler. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do every other one. So I'm going to go like this just to give it some spunk. And then we'll do the same thing on the inside. Okay. So let me get some glue. I like to use the liquid multi-purpose glue, that just because it gives me a second to move around if I don't get it exactly straight. Oh, I might need to get a new glue out. Okay, so let me get that lined up there. Just like that. And this paper also has some gold foiling on it, so it's really pretty paper. And it would be pretty sitting on somebody's dresser or jewelry stand or in their bathroom. Okay, I think I'm gonna have to open a new glue, my friends. Let me get one out. A lot of crafting's been done here. Okay. Okay. I hope you guys have been enjoying the 12 days of Christmas. If you make any of these projects or if you have any questions, please always feel free to private message me. I would always be more than happy to walk you through this process or to answer any questions. For me, it's all about sharing the joy of crafting. Looks like I might have scored this wrong. Hold on, guys. Okay. And then we're going to do the same thing on the inside. Now this, I know, looks kind of time consuming, but if you pre-cut everything, it will go together really nice and easy. I'm just gonna fold this and make sure that my folds nice and crisp, because I think I was a little off when I did that fold because I was talking too much. Okay, there we go. May need to glue this down a little bit. Okay, so now I'm gonna flip it over and I'm gonna do the same thing on this side. So it looks like we're gonna have to do, we'll do green, floral, green, floral, green. Whoops. See, that's exactly why I like to use the liquid multi-purpose glue. Okay, now we're on to our last piece, panel piece. Okay, so now we're going to set that aside for just a moment. And now I'm going to show you how to make the boxes that go on the inside and the lid. I already did those ones, but we have one left to do. So what you're going to do is you're going to fold your paper from point to point. I like to use my bone folder to give it a nice crisp fold, especially when you're making the lid, since the lid's out of cardstock. Then you're going to flip it and turn and do the opposite from corner to corner. Okay, now you're going to open it up and you're going to fold in all the corners to the center. And last one. Okay, now you're going to open all those up, and one at a time you're going to fold in one corner, and then you're going to fold in this next line to the center and burnish. Then you're going to unfold it and do the next one. Flip, turn it, fold that one into the center, and then fold this one up into the center. Okay, then you're going to unflip it. Same thing on this end. Flip this up, fold to the center. One last one, flip that into the center, fold and burnish. Okay, now you're going to unfold it all. And I know this is kind of hard to see, but what you're going to do is you're going to hold it with a point facing your stomach, and you're going to cut up on both these score lines facing you to the second score line. So I'm going to cut up one score line and two score lines. Do the same thing here. One score line, two score lines. Then I'm going to flip it to the opposite side and do the same thing. One score line, two score lines. One score line, two score lines. So now you have tabs that look like this, okay? Now what you're going to do is flip it to the opposite side, and what you want to do is you want to cut off half of that little point. Okay? Then you also want to cut out the corners that are the triangles facing you. So you're going to cut out this triangle, and then you're going to cut out this triangle. So it looks like this. Now we're going to flip it around and do the same thing on the other side. We're going to trim off the corner in half, and then we need to take out the triangles. Okay, so this is what you're left with. Now what you're going to want to do is you're going to flip it upside down like this, and you're going to bring in these tabs like this, and you're going to fold this over and glue it in. So let me show you. I'm going to put glue all over this entire little piece. Fold those in. And then I'm going to glue this over, just like this. And I'm going to use my bone folder to make sure that's nice and stuck down. Okay, now let's do the other side. Fold in those tabs, add glue, make sure they line up on the sides. Just like that, just like that. Push the flap over. burnish that down. Now all you have left are the other two sides. So you're going to just add glue here. And glue in. Add glue here. And glue in. So see how nice and finished it looks on the inside? Okay, so now what you want to do is you're going to bring in your panels and you're going to line up your boxes. So you want this one to be at the bottom. You know, you want it to be like a staircase, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my a pen and I'm going to mark where the top of that box is. So there's a mark, and then I'm going to leave a tiny bit of room, you know, like not even a quarter of an inch. Put my next box down. Mark the top. Put my next box down. Mark the top. And put my next box down and mark the top. Okay, so now you have your pin marks. Okay, and now what you're going to do is you're going to take your tear-in tape, decide which side you want to be your facing side, and put tear-in tape on the back of the opposite side. I'm going to do that, and then we need our Take-A-Pick tool to take off that release paper. Fold that over. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to carefully put this down right over that pin mark that we just made. And then I'm going to take my bone folder and press it down, make sure it's nice and pressed down. Okay, the same thing here. Decide which side you want to be your front. Add your tear-in tape. And then place it right over that pin line. Is like right like that. Okay, now we have our next box. There. Before I finish that, I'm going to add a tiny little bit of liquid multi-purpose glue because it looks like that one flap, the top of that didn't stick down, and I want it to look pretty. So I'm going to just add a little bit of glue so that that little flap will stick down. There we go. Okay. Now we have our last box to add on. Let me figure out which side I want. Looks like this side would be good. Okay, and then we're going to take off that tear-in tape. And we're going to add that right over that other line. Just like that. Okay, so now you should have all of your boxes except for your lid put on. Okay, so now you could set it up and like fold it up and see how well it goes together. Right? So what you're gonna do is, before we do that, see, we got this done. Now we got to add our panels to our lid. So I'm gonna go ahead and add that designer series paper to the outside of my lid. Once they're all down, I'm gonna go ahead and also burnish it down again to make sure that all the pieces are stuck down good. Okay, now we can add our top to our box. And the same thing on this one. Once I get it in place and I know it's kind of stuck, I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to just run that bone folder all along the outside, the inside, to make sure it's nice and stuck down. Okay, then we're going to go ahead and add our lid. And then what I like to do, now I've seen a few of these on Pinterest. A lot of people will put the bow along the top just like this, and you can. If you do that, I'd put a little bit of tear-in tape just in the middle to keep that bow from slipping on and off. But because I'm filling it with jewelry and it's a little heavier, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to wrap the bow around it this way. That way I make sure that my lid doesn't come off and that all my goodies inside don't come out of the boxes. I kind of made this one too loose. Okay, try this again. I would knot it, but I'm not ready to completely fill it yet. I've got to go get the gift to put in this. So for now, it's going to be a tiny bit loose, but you'd want to play with your ribbon till you get it just right. And then you can cut it off. And I'll make that prettier once, like I said, once I have it tied exactly how I wanted it with all my goodies in there. And then you just add a little tag like I did here, or you could give it just like this. I think it's beautiful. So thank you guys for joining me today. I know today's project was a little bit longer and a little bit more labor intensive, but most of all, best of all, you're gonna wow your person that you give this to, and yeah, they'll love it. So thank you guys again. Have a great day, and until next time, I will see you later. Bye-bye.